the more of something you have, the more of something you get. So you've got communities with very little in terms of human capital, very little education, relatively few economic resources. So they're already in a problem. Then if you cut services, the problems they have get exacerbated. And there's really no way around that. The more of something you got, the more of something you get dilemma. And in a time of crisis, even under the best of circumstances, the poorer you are, the worse you're going to suffer. I mean, because if you cut 10% at the bottom and 3% at the top, or 3% at the bottom, 10% at the top, 10% at the top can live with it. 3% at the bottom comes out of the things you need to live. The senior senators are a really important dimension of this. I've had some recent experience with some of these, and these Latinos don't make as much use of them as they could. We know that. And very often the language facility in the centers is not at the level it should be so that they can all be communicated with. And rather than enhancing the services that are provided, which are already limited, you cut them. I mean, that's just a devastating blow.
Maegan, what jumped out at you from the things that she started talking about?
Well, I mean, I live in a Latino community, and one of the things that really struck me was, or one of the things that popped into my head rather, was about how these cuts and are going to affect especially the Latino immigrant community within our communities. The immigrant population in New York City continues to grow in Melissa's district and in districts across the state and the city. Already there is a barrier to access to health care, to education, to child care, to services for seniors because of lack of documentation, for example. So those populations will even be more so affected by these cuts. And that's often something that is not talked about in the grander scheme of the budget cuts in the Latino community.